excited to be here with my brother, as I say over and over again, my taller, younger, better looking version of myself. So,
thanks, Gigi.
Yeah, brother. Well, that means we're both good looking.
Oh,
hey, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining in Instagram world. Thank you for joining as people are streaming in. I want to just take a quick second and welcome you to Walking the Path and to let you know that we're here live at Rythmia from beautiful downtown Guanacaste. And what's happening at Rythmia, we were just talking about what's happening at Rythmia, is amazing transformations every week in and week out. This is an amazing place where people come for three reasons: to see who they've become, to merge with their soul, and to heal their hearts. And that is what happens. People unhook from the past, unhook from disempowering beliefs, from old narratives that have been blocking the light and love from flowing through them, and step into their most authentic self. And from that place of authenticity, there's a clear path to the future. There's a clear path of purpose. There's a clear path of living the life that you love and doing the things that bring joy to yourself, because that is the one thing that brings joy to the world. And so people are coming in. Yeah, they are coming in. Great. So got a lot of people over there in Instagram world. Hello. And so that's what's going on at Rythmia. And if you are on YouTube or Facebook, there's a number right there. You can call. And if you're on Instagram, you can look up rythmia.com and check out more about this amazing place. But in the meantime, I got my brother Gio, Elemental Gio from Elemental Rhythm.
What's up, everyone?
Hey. And today's topic, it's the first day of February, and this is the month of love. I'm there, proclaiming it to be so. I'm the first one to do that, to name February.
Oh, no. Wow. I think you're onto something.
I think I'm onto something. I'm just so intuitive that it just came to me. And so I thought we would start with this first interview. This is a rare interview. Rare to have an interview on. I think you're the only person that I've ever interviewed on Walking the Path.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're like the
Let's get into it then.
Return. All right. So Gio.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody about you.
Hey guys, I'm Gio. I guess long story short, I was a serial entrepreneur growing up. I was really confused about net worth and self-worth, and that led me on a path of self-discovery and self-awareness. And somewhere along those ways, there's a few really key moments of transformation. And one of them was finding plant medicine. The other one was finding breath work. And I think the two, weave together in the most incredible way, because they're both this inward journey to understanding yourself. And the more you make yourself a study, practice of just constantly wanting to have a deeper understanding, life opens up in a beautiful way. And somewhere along that line, I crossed paths.
You met me
with Rythmia and JJ, and you, the whole family here, and I just kind of was like, it was my place, man. It was just like everything about it. I just fell in love and got the opportunity to teach here and to share, and it's been amazing. Just helping people here, helping myself when I come here, and learning each time I come. Participating in ceremonies. And I was also fortunate enough to help the breathwork team, so we train on breathwork, and we create an aftercare program, and all these amazing ways that we can integrate, elemental rhythm breathwork and the Rythmia way. And it's been such a great kind of merger of the two worlds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's so amazing and meeting you here, and then just falling in love, right? Brotherly love. And really enjoying our time together. And then I went and trained to be an elemental rhythm breathwork facilitator. And that's been an amazing journey. And I just, realize so clearly that really breathwork and plant medicine are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're really doing the same thing. And can have equally as profound experiences in both. And the two together are amazing modalities for catapulting us, right, to a new level. So one of the things that I love, actually, we were talking just before we went on, when I was in makeup. We have an extensive makeup department here at Rythmia. This doesn't just happen, people. When Gio said, I said, the topic is love, by the way. We're going to talk about love. And he said, I found love last night.
Mm,
Tell me about
yeah.
your experience last night.
Yeah. So this week for me, it was the concept of integrity was really kind of coming up in my life, and like you read about these words and they have a definition, and you try to like intellectualize them. But sometimes when I bring them to the medicine, it gives me this whole deeper level of teaching because there's layers to everything. There's different perspectives. There's different essences of the meanings of things. And night one was showing me about first, if you want to really know about integrity, you have to really dive into judgment. And started of this concept of judgment, and just seeing places where like I was really trying to help people, but I might have come across as judgmental because like, oh, especially with friends and family, like, wanting to help them, but them seeing it, receiving it as like, oh, you know everything and you're judging me, and then them kind of resisting. And that was kind of night one. It reminded me of a quote from our Peru trip about how like truth without compassion can be seen as a weapon, right? I know you remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was really just contemplating that and going into the next ceremony and just seeing where like some of my actions were actually also rooted in ego, because I was trying to prove myself, prove my worth, because times in my life where I didn't feel worthy or I wasn't good enough, and all these things from like childhood and teenage years. So it was really interesting. Night two went into desire, and desire was related to integrity, and desire attached to like envy and jealousy and shame and all these things, because when you have desires, it's usually attached to a wounded part of yourself, then you desire something to kind of compensate, desire for connection, desire for safety, desire for whatever. Different than a need. You have basic human needs, but the desires were kind of like linked. And it showed me how sometimes you're doing things, but it's from a wound rather than from a place of without desire. The medicine gave me a glimpse for just a few minutes of what it felt like to not have any desires. It was the most incredible, peaceful experience. I was questioning, like, okay, well, once you have no desire, that can be kind of boring, like to not have desire. But it was actually the opposite, because it was
Right.
showing me like desire. When you have no desire, you can step into passion without feeling pulled in directions that are not in alignment, because they're coming out of fear and hurt. And that was pretty profound. That was pretty profound. And going back to the first night on judgment as well, it was this illusion of perfection it was showing me, and how there's nothing really perfect in this world. It is a singular point, like the perfect car, the perfect man, the perfect woman, but we have these ideals of what that could be like, and we compare ourselves to it. And it was showing me the illusion of that is that if you strive for perfection, you're always going to fall short and feel like lack and self-judgment. But the paradox is everything's perfect exactly the way it is, right?
Okay, I want to just stop right there.
I'm getting to love. Okay,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know, but I mean, like you just to unpack
Mhm.
some of what you said that really resonates with me, right? First of all, judgment and helping, right? There's an important distinction between help, because helping presupposes fixing,
Mhm.
right? Helping and fixing are sort of the same energy, and people feel that, and that has a hierarchical, right? You're saying, oh, my friends and family felt like I was judging them.
But I didn't realize it.
No.
I started realizing yesterday, it's like, oh, this is how they may be receiving it. And
Well,
that's not my intention.
No, it's right. The intention is I want to be helpful,
Mhm.
right? But that has a automatic sense of I've got something that you need, right? Like that there's a lack. And in the second point that you just brought up, that everything is perfect just as it is, right? That there's one of the distinction between helping and fixing and serving, right? What's the distinction? Helping and fixing is that hierarchical desire that there's something wrong. It presupposes there's something wrong, which goes to your second point. Service is seeing the wholeness in you and the wholeness in me, and meeting each other. Right? It's sort of the principle of namaste, right? Like I see the divine in you, and the divine in me, and that is, and we are perfect in our imperfections. That our imperfections are actually the way that we serve. Even you, you're like, I want to say something. Even you, like being that whole thing about trying to help people, and that was all also perfect. Like it was their journey as well.
And the key, like I was mentioning earlier, like all this is a practice in self-awareness, and the mistakes, like the imperfections, they're important because they lead to evolution, right? But it has to do awareness. It starts seeing it's like, oh, that didn't feel right, or something was there that I can bring some awareness to. And it's interesting the way it started was like, I had a few cups of medicine. I was feeling like a little anxious, and you know how it gets when it's just coming in. And I started feeling irritated. And one of the guitarists made a mistake. And I picked up on it. I was like, oh, this is rythmia. Like making a mistake in the guitar. That's when this whole judgment thing came up, and I realized that's what it was trying to teach me. But then after, at the end of it, I heard the guitar player again, and the medicine said, yeah, of course the guitar player knew they also made a mistake, but that brought their focus and their awareness, and they dove into it, and then it just became a perfect song. Like they were just like nailing it. But that little kind of blip brought them to say, okay, like I need to go here. Not like, oh shit, I screwed up, stop playing the guitar. Like,
Right.
you know, the night's over. It's like, okay, like I need to bring my focus and awareness. So the same with my own realizations. Okay, like I see how I show up in these relationships. How can I do it from a different place that is like coming from a place of compassion and truth, and really not getting my ego tied into it, of this like need to prove myself. When I pull that out, like I just feel this different way of like being able to connect and express with people.
The other thing is we have no idea how we're serving.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guitar player might have been like, oh man, I made a mistake, but he has no idea that you were sitting there and that mistake led you on a whole deep realization. Like the mistake was all serving the great plan of love. Mm-hmm. This perfectly designed, and this is really when I was thinking about love as the topic and doing like a whole series this month on love, is that it is all love. And there is a great plan of love. And this is why we can't judge ourselves or each other, because we have no idea how we're serving, even in our imperfection. You have no idea how you were serving your friends and family that might have been reacting or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And yes, it's a moment for you to be self-reflective, but that's also a moment for their growth. Mm-hmm. I mean, the very thing, like, I feel like you're judging me, but they're judging you. Like there's a whole, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. And ultimately it was like to embrace the imperfection and to not strive for it, but just to do your best. Like just, that's perfect.
That's integrity.
Doing your best. So that came back to the integrity, right? And so then the third night was moving into, it became obvious it was love. Like to be in integrity, you know, you have to really love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, it's much harder. I'm not saying it's impossible to be in integrity, but when you don't love yourself, you know, how can you be in full integrity? And so that means to love the imperfections, to love the process, to love everything about your situation and what's going on and how you show up. But it really takes a lot of that self-reflection. So I went into it last night, and you know, I started realizing like these weird habits I have. Like, you know, when I come to Costa Rica, I'll buy some natural tobacco, I'll start smoking. It's like, dude, why are you even doing that? You know, it's just like start thinking about it. It's like, oh, just sometimes get bored of ADHD or pass the time. It's like, no, like that's not loving yourself. You know, eating too much mambe, that's not loving yourself. Be intentional. Use it with care, because you get lost. It's like, oh, you know, it's this plant medicine, and it's good for you and whatever. And then you kind of get lost in like the habitual way of just using it unconsciously. Mm-hmm. You know, that habit of desire, right? Was being shown to me. And so I just laid there and just was like, okay, like I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I'm just so content just being here, listening to the music, feeling this love. And then all of a sudden I get transported on this conveyor belt into the machine of soul merging machine. And it's this big, huge machine I'm going under. And it's like, okay, if you have to figure this out yourself. We're just going to bring you in this machine and we're going to do it for you. And I feel this heat. And I realized that the soul merger machine also had the heart healing upgrade to it as well. So it's just
high-end model.
It was just like there, the music is playing, and I'm just like loving every second of it. And, you know, I didn't need even another cup. I was just like feeling great. I was tired. I was dehydrated. And I was like, okay, take care of yourself today. You know, I'm hydrated, got an IV, taking it easy, been resting. I said, okay, like give yourself that compassion. Because before, almost every time I come here, I'm like team calls with my team, and I'm like pushing myself to like do this, to show up, ceremony, wake up, 9 o'clock call, do the class here, another call in the afternoon. It's just like, what are you doing to yourself, man? Just take it easy. Yeah. Don't feel bad. Like just have that compassion. Your team's gonna be fine. You know, just communicate with them, tell them, you know, and they respond.
The other piece that you're talking about, desire and mm-hmm. being, you know, that's a huge Buddhist concept, right? Is to be empty of desire. And but then you're like, well, that would be boring. Like desire is the thing that propels us. I've been doing this meditation recently, working on it, and it comes from a deep realization of oneness, mm-hmm. right? Like Reverend Michael said to me one time, the presence of God has no need for evolution, but it's not static, but it's not stagnant. Presence of God, the infinite presence of intelligence, consciousness, the self-existent mind energy of consciousness that exists, has no need to evolve because it's every possibility and every potential. Yet it is not stagnant. It is not stagnant. So, then you're like, well, if I don't have desire, what is it? But I've been thinking about this, that like, I am God. Not like I'm the supreme consciousness of all, but like everything in me is God. Every particle, everything is God. If God is everything, then everything is God. Right. And so from that place, I have everything that I need. I have everything that I need. I am. God is, I am. I am, God is. I am, God is. Right. Now, what do I want? Right. From that place of absolute fullness, I have everything I need. I am one with the presence of all of life. Everything is already done. Assume, make the assumptions in the meditation, like just presuppose I have everything, all my needs are met. Like, let's just start there. Everything, okay, I couldn't need or want for anything. Now, what do I want to create from there? Which is kind of what you were talking about, that like, I have no desire, but then there's, what did you say, inspiration?
Passion, inspiration.
Passion, right? It's like the creation from fullness, not from lack.
Well, because like when you're in that mindset, like how much energy in your subconscious mind is being drained from all these desires, all these needs, all these wounds, like trying to be safe or figure out or be seen. It's like you start running this program all the time. You don't have the energy to create. You don't have the time to really sit back and say, okay, like,
right,
how do I really want to design my life? How do I want to be intentional? How do I want to feel? Like, are the things that I'm doing right now even serving me? How long am I going to be doing this for if I'm not feeling good right now? But that uncertainty is so scary to us, right? The subconscious mind doesn't want uncertainty. It's like, hey, let's just stay where we're at. We know this is good enough. We're not dying, we're surviving, right? But like to really go into abundance, you kind of have to work your way out of those thought patterns and those things that are holding you. And on the last journey I was here in November the whole week was about fear. It was about going to fear. And I think that's what the antidote to fear is, love. And I had this really interesting experience after like something that was really scary. Like it was kind of like a death experience. I was like a panther and got into
I was like a panther, and
I got into this like fight with like some sort of anaconda, and we both died, and it was scary, it was painful, and then as I was there, I just hear this voice, and it's saying, "Have faith in us." I didn't know what it meant. I was like, "Who's even talking? Was I saying that?
right?
Was it God? Was the ayahuasca?" It said it again, just to let me know that it was all of them, because I am one with God and the universe and plant medicine, and the only way to really transcend fear is to have unrelenting faith in God. And so, like, we don't need to know the outcomes if we have the faith, right? What's going to be best is going to be best for my journey, for everyone else, But when you don't have faith, your fear creeps in. It sort of takes over and starts running the program of like protection and safety and all of these things, right? So yeah, it's totally in alignment with what you're saying. Is like this aspect of like God and oneness. It's something like, again, it's easy, I guess, to comprehend. It's just like a statement, like we are one, but how do you really like embody that? How do you really kind of like dive deeper into that understanding? That's why I love plant medicine, because sometimes I'll bring that, it'll start showing me like these different essences of it so that I can really embody the meaning of it.
Well, and now, I mean, this is the big piece with integration, right? This is that we must then take those insights that you've received and now every day consciously practice our oneness with God. Okay, wait. So, and that practice of oneness, right, is, you said faith, right? But faith necessitates trust, and trust necessitates safety. So how can we, on a daily basis, work with our thoughts, bring our awareness to the truth that we're safe, that we always have been safe, that everything has always worked out for us every time our back was against the wall, Every time we were just about to fall, everything that happened that was the worst thing turned out to be the best thing. Every time we've made it. Every time we've been safe. And I say to myself, literally, every dark night has a dawn. Every winter has a spring. Every storm has a sunny day. Every time. And so I've been, with this consciousness of oneness, focusing on safety.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me to have trust, faith, and eventually to surrender, I have to feel safe. Because that's what you're talking about. I'm just drained when the programs that run, like, I got to control this, and because I don't feel safe. And it's not that we just sit and don't do anything, but it's, again, from this sense of safety, trust, faith, surrender, that that I can then take inspired action,
Mm-hmm.
not from a space of deficit. The other thing is that I just wanted to say this quote since we started talking about it is, do you know the American author Tennessee Williams?
Mm-hmm.
He has a quote: "Desire is like an overcoat that's 10 times too big." Like, you just get lost in
Mm-hmm.
this lack. It just swallows us. That I'm not enough, and right now isn't enough. I'm not enough. Right now isn't enough. The situation isn't enough. My marriage isn't enough. My job isn't enough. This journey isn't enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Something more requires more.
Yeah, and I think, like, along that vein of safety, like, one, there's like feeling unnecessary fear and unnecessary feeling unsafe when it's not really true. And there's
Right.
ways you can kind of show yourself that. You can kind of heal that kind of wound. But can you have faith when you are actually in an unsafe situation? Right? Like, that's the challenge. Like, can you really still have faith when things are really hard? When you can't see a way out of it, and still have faith, right? And that kind of will help subside the fear. And I read an interesting quote today. I think it was from Game of Thrones, to be honest. And it was like, one guy was saying to the other, I'm scared. Like, how can I have courage? And he said, the only time you can have courage is when you're scared. Because when you're not scared, you don't need courage.
Right.
Like, it has to come when you're afraid. And I was like, yeah. Like,
That's a good one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Like, now's my opportunity to see, to challenge myself, to really step up, to have faith, to have courage, to do the things that I really don't feel comfortable doing, but I know. And this is the integration path. It's like, you do these things, breath work, plant medicine, and you get clarity. You have these ahas, and you know what you have to do, and you're clear on it. And then a couple of days later, the mind comes back and is like, no, don't do that. That's crazy. That's stupid. And then, like, having the courage or the commitment or discipline to actually make that change, or have that conversation, or have a daily practice to follow through with what that clarity that comes through. And that's ultimately a form of loving yourself, to
It is.
really integrate the learnings into life without fear, and without fear of what's really going to happen when you have that clarity in your heart.
We have these limited windows of opportunity post plant medicine. There's limited windows of opportunity. Post any moment you have a transcendent experience of clarity, a transformative moment. It doesn't have to be in plant medicine, but a lot of times in plant medicine. But any moment of, like, exceptional clarity. Oh, I got it. We have these moments of these limited windows of opportunity to lock in a new way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because the default will always take us back to an old pattern, it's like a well-worn animal path in the jungle. And you have this moment of clarity. It's like cutting a new path. And the old path is too easy to go down because it's well-worn. So the integration of any new idea is you're going to choose over and over again to go on this new path, follow that until this path becomes the default.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't choose it all the time. And that's also where self-love comes in. Like, okay, I chose this path. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And we try again. Those windows of opportunity is something that I've been really also thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the process. And
well, the other thing too is, like, once you have the awareness, the universe is going to start challenging you. It's going to show up in your face. Okay, like, here's your opportunity. Are you going to go back to your old pattern, or are you going to make a change now? In the week before coming here, I'd been going through this kind of, like, letting go of fear, and not, like, trying to, like, go into all the worst outcomes, having this faith. And the week before, I've been trying to get my passport renewed for like a month, and I get a call from the passport office like, hey, like your passport's not ready. We actually don't know where it is right now. We're trying to track it down for you. I'm like, whoa, I gotta leave on Friday to go to Rythmia and get speaking, and like start thinking like, oh my god,
Worst case
week,
scenario.
all this stuff. Like, whoa, stop. Like, just stop. Take a deep breath, and everything's gonna work out exactly what it has. Even if you don't end up going to Rythmia this week, and it creates all of this chaos and confusion, maybe that's exactly what you need. And I just like trust it. Show up to the passport office 12 o'clock, get to the front, wait in line. There's a 5-hour line I got to bypass, but get to the front.
Well, wait, just hold it. That's a miracle. There's a 5-hour line I got to bypass, by the way.
And we still don't have your passport, sir. 12 o'clock Friday. I'm leaving Saturday morning. And then I'm like, oh man, I go back into it again. I'm like, don't thing. They're like, come back at 2 o'clock. And I just go and I just sit in my car and meditate. And I'm just like, man, what am I gonna do? Okay, just meditate. 2 hours go by, I walk back in. And the reason why it was delayed so much, because one of the printers broke at one of the offices I was supposed to go to, so I had to transfer to another one. I go up to the front, there's your passport, sir. Just ready. And he goes, you're lucky. I'm like, why? He goes, this printer just broke 10 minutes ago. You're like one of the last passports that got printed. I was like, man, okay. You just had to trust, have faith, like that was it. But I got challenged.
Yeah.
I saw my mind automatically going back to those old patterns of fear, worst case scenario. But I was able to stop it. That's part of my integration process. It's like, okay, you're going to get challenged on these things you're working on. But now you have to consciously choose to do something different.
Yeah. I want to end on one note to kind of wrap up what you just said. The Course in Miracles, says there's always the mind of the ego and there's always the mind of God. There's always a divine mind and there's always the egoic mind. And we can always choose. And a phrase that has been so helpful to me is, I can choose peace instead of this. I can choose love instead of this. And that's in essence what you were doing. Like the mind was like, oh, worst case scenario. I'm going to choose peace. I'm going to choose love. I'm going to choose meditation. We can choose something. And just saying that has brought me great peace. So I want to, brother.
Thank you.
Always great chatting with you.
Thank you everyone for listening. I'm Gio, Elemental Gio on Instagram if you want to follow. And I'm going to be here in May again as a guest speaker. I'd love to have you guys for a week. Just some ice baths, a lot of breath work. It's going to be a ton of fun, a lot of transformation. So I'd love to see you guys here.
Yeah.
Come and hang.
Thank you all so much. Peace and blessings. Ciao. All right, we'll turn it off here. Bye, everybody.